Super Dave here for another review. Alright, Super Dave here with another exciting review for you, and today we're actually going to be reviewing a Superman. Just got this in the mail today, and it's the NECA Superman vs. Alien. And if we peep inside, there is our prize. That's right, a NECA Superman and some accessories, and then one alien from the Alien movie and that action figure, and he has no accessories, but he's pretty impressive, he looks like. And from the reviews I've seen, others like D Amazing and Anthony's Customs, shout out to D Amazing and Anthony's Customs for great reviews on this. And that's what made me want to have one of these Superman figures. Really cool looking. Yes, there's some flaws and some things like any action figure that's made, but he's really cool. We're going to check him out. Let's break him open and see what it's all about. Here's the man of the hour, our Superman, and I just really like this figure. I think he is dynamic. I really enjoy all the muscularity, the detail that was given to this figure. I like the articulation. We're going to see some of that in a moment when we go to the review booth. I like the yellow S on the back of the cape. This is a cloth cape. I just enjoy a lot of the aspects of this NECA Superman. And also, I really like this head sculpt. I believe this is probably one of the better head sculpts that I have seen on a Superman action figure in a very long time of one this size. I just think that this particular look is Superman to me. Now, I have some others that I own that I like, and some others that I've seen on some of the new 52 bodies and things like that, but I just really like this particular face sculpt. I think it's probably one of my favorites. I like the eyes. See if we can zoom in here to the eyes a little bit. Just the detail is extraordinary. But we're going to look at his accessories very quickly here. Of course, he comes packed with his fist hands on both arms. That's the first set. He's got two sets of hands, and the other set is his flying pose hands. Karate chop hands, as some say. Look how realistic they are with the bends and the knuckles and the veins. Very, very well done for an action figure this size. The 1/12 size, a 6 to 7 inch size scale. And of course, they'll swivel and they have a hinge. We'll look at that later, but there is his other set of hands there, the flying pose hands. Very cool. See the wrinkles in his palms. Just very, very well done. Very well done. Even that pinky is a little crooked, you know, like most people would be when, you know, just very well done, I think, with the detail there. And then he comes with an alternate head, which is also very well done, but you see the eyes have been notched out of that angry eyes looking, or angry face, clenched teeth look, because you can notch inside of there. You see this heat vision effect that he has, which is very neat. And also, he also has, they went a step further and included another heat vision effect that's long. Check that out. And it, you know, it's got a little blast effect at the end, like it's hitting something. Just very neat, very neat. So those are his accessories. So let's go over to the review booth and check out his articulation. Here is our Superman, and we are going to take a look first over here in the review booth, his articulation. And again, I really like that head sculpt. I think it's really awesome. So let's get him closer up here and take a look at this head up close here. First of all, I want you to notice even when you look up and turn him around, you get absolutely none of that round on the edge. It hides that very well, so you get some very realistic. I mean, you can see a little bit of it right there, but they do a really good job overall compared to a lot of other action figures at hiding that joint. It looks seamless when you get in most of your poses, your head poses, whether you're doing a tilt. I mean, look at that. That's very close to being seamless, to make that look like neck muscles when it moves out of the way instead of it looking like a ball joint. I think that that's something to point out here, that they did a really good job with this action figure. So you can look up, you can look down a good way, even without having that hinge. You get very good tilt. Side to side, of course, it's tight. And so I just love this head sculpt. Again, I just think that this is one of the best head sculpts on a Superman that I have seen in a very long time. The paint apps are overall very well done. I have had some flaking at the joints where I've bent the hinges already and seen some flakes, but I guess that's to be expected in a lot of action figures today. But and this cape picks very easily and frays very easily along the edges, so you have to be very careful with that. And already just the amount of posing I've done already has made some difference there. But let's go ahead and get to the articulation. I've shown you some of the warning things there, but of course you have a good ball joint here, a 360. You have a bicep swivel, a lot of nice details in that muscle and the veins in the bicep. I like that. I think that looks really nice. The tricep area, the shoulder muscles, and you get a good bicep swivel, and then you get a double jointed elbow. Now my elbow right here froze up, not this first pin close to the bicep, but the second pin close to the forearm. D Amazing had issues with his thigh joint coming out, and then I believe it was Anthony's Customs that the bottom part of the shin double jointed knee would not bend, and when he tried to bend it, it popped the pin out. I had to heat up the forearm area here and even spray it with some WD-40 and just work without tearing. Even had to use a little bit of some of those soft pliers to try to loosen this up, and even scar just a hair there, but just trying to get that joint to break, and it finally did. So I'm glad that I was able to get that. It's ratcheted, it's very tight, it's very nice, but apparently there's some frozen joints that are common with some of these figures depending on which one you have, and so that's just something to be aware of. Then you've got a very nice hand, fist hand. Very nice detail in those hands, the wrinkles, the veins, the bending of at the joints. Just some really nice detail overall in both sets of hands, and I like that. I think it's neat attention to detail, just the bone structure and everything, and you get that hinge and swivel, and of course double jointed elbows there, which get a good range of motion. I like that. That's a very good thing. And so all the way around, very nice there. And instead of us getting that diaphragm ball joint, we do have another here, ab crunch. But I mean, it works pretty good. It doesn't hide things as well as I would like if it had been something a little different, but I think with the rib cage work that they have in here, the sculpt of the musculature, I think it really works well. It just doesn't work well if you go further back. It gets smooth and you don't see the muscular detailed ends. But if you keep it around midway or even in that crunch position, it works really good. It looks good, and I think it poses out very well for you. But that's just a couple of small gripes. Of course, you have swivel at the waist. Now this belt and shorts here are a rubbery, soft plastic, which is nice because that can be manipulated a little bit. Not quite of the measure of like Storm Collectibles, but it is soft and posable there. So you have that. Then you have, of course, that ball joint in the thighs or the legs and hips, which allow you to get full split. You're able to go back about that much. You're able to go forward. Just hindered a little bit by those shorts. As you can see, seems like on one side more than the other, but you can twist that, and you saw it wrinkled up there. You see where it wrinkled up, see? And you can work that back out, I'm sure. But you get thigh swivel, you get double jointed knees, You get boot cut, you get a full range of motion with the feet, as well as nice rocker joints and even a toe hinge here. And this one's frozen up there on that side, but this one does bend, so I'll show you that one, and we'll have to loosen up this one on that side. So again, you have thigh swivel there up here, higher up. Then you have double jointed knees, you have boot cut, and you have that nice foot range of motion, including toe hinge, which is a nice added benefit. So just a lot of neat things you're going to be able to do with this Superman. For me, I'm glad that it doesn't have the wire in the cape, because one of my Henry Cavill action figures here that does have the wire in the cape, it's really good to pose when it comes to flying poses, but when it comes to it just hanging when you're standing, or just letting it flow in standing poses or still picture poses, it's going to hinder the look of it a little bit. Whereas when it hangs, it's going to, look a lot more natural. So, there's pros and cons to both, but I like what this Superman comes with. I'm pleased with him on that scale. So let's look first here as far as his accessories. Flying hands, and you see here all the detail again in that hand, the fingernails, the bends at the joints, the bone structure. I like that. That's cool. And so you can pop that right in here. So that you can get some nice looking, you need to clean this out a little bit here. You can get some really nice, and there again, there's where the wire would come in handy for flying poses, as you can see, but you can make do with that. If you get a stand involved, you can certainly compensate for that cape. There we go. Give you a little bit more of an idea. So just a lot of neat details about this Superman. The main thing that highlights it for me, I love his size, his muscularity. I love his neck and face sculpt. I love his articulation. I would have loved for them to have done butterfly joints, but overall I give this character an 8 out of 10 with articulation. That may be a little high just because of some of the issues, but I'm just really liking this Superman figure. They just don't have a whole lot in this size range. DC Essentials, all that, DC Direct, and all they just have not done a great job presenting a Superman to us, in my opinion, on this scale, this level, this size of a Superman. I think that they certainly could do a better job. I will mention to you in relation to this character that I love the way they did the S on the back, and you can see how good that turned out, and even the muscularity in the neck and back area, which I will show you that here. Lift the cape. You can see the ab crunch area in the lower part of the small of the back, and the muscularity, that the way they did this, I like that. I think that overall that looks really good on this Superman character. I love the fact they included the yellow S on the back. That's phenomenal. You can see the detail as well if you look very closely in the hair. There is like a blue wash, like in your comic books you always would see. And of course there's a gloss on there, but you see the black and the blue highlights and blue wash that goes along in that hair. And you can see here some spots, the paint area where it's not perfect, but I think overall this Superman is really good. The aesthetics for me would also have to be in that area as far as like a I'd say an 8 out of 10. Well, let's look at some of his accessories that go with him in an application. I'm just going to pop off this hand here. We won't show both flying hands for now because I like the fist better. And that's the thing. See, you can see even where I popped that out, how it has peeled away the plastic, the paint. And you know, that's just unfortunate. I don't like that, but apparently that's a problem across the board with some of these NECA figures. But like we were talking about earlier, his head that he comes with, he does have an alternate head. I'll pop that on right quick here. And as you see, the alternate head has the eyes notched out there. And that is so that you can plug in his first set of heat vision eyes, which plug right into that notch. You have to get it in the right direction. And that looks really good. That's almost like the beginnings of it because where it's starting out. And of course he's got his teeth clenched and that looks good. You even see the gums. I think they did a pretty good job with the detail of this particular face sculpt as well, as far as including some of that jawline, the musculature of the face, the blemishes somewhat, you know, in a way, and even the gums around the teeth that you can see as the mouth is open there. You get a good picture of what this guy looks like when he's angry and he's getting ready to heat up his heat vision eyes there. I want us to look at this set of heat vision eyes next. You have to make sure you get it plugged right in there, and you can see now you have this really long set of heat vision effect eyes, and that is so. And let's go ahead and get him posed out here in kind of an action pose, dynamic pose. All right, just right quick, I wanted to show you that we can look at the height of our Superman, and he measures in right at 7 inches tall, maybe just a hair over, but basically 7 inches, and really nice size. And just to compare, one of my favorite new 52 figures who has very limited articulation, but I like his outfit, I like his suit. Again, I really prefer the head sculpt on the new NECA Superman we're looking at, but I definitely like the suit on this. I just wish, now I've got the new 52 alloy Superman that I've done a review of and will be posting soon, that is, you know, 12 inches tall, and he has very good articulation. But in this size character, they have not really developed a new 52 outfit Superman in the 7-inch scale, 6 or 7-inch scale, that has really good articulation. This guy has no ab crunch. He does have bicep swivel, but very limited everything otherwise. Does have the black cape on the back, and that's a rubber cape. But again, in my pick of facial structure, articulation, and muscularity, I'd have to pick this guy, even though it's the classic Superman suit, which I love, but I just really dig, personally, I like the new 52 suit. All right, moving right along. Another classic Superman who has good and decent articulation, but and is a 6-inch scale. But again, compared to the muscularity and the detail to the facial structure and the overall look on this one, I'd have to give it again to our NECA Superman here. But I do like this guy. He's he's got the yellow cape as well, and he's got a lot of good articulation, but just not, you know, this is more of a, I don't know, generic type look overall, whereas the realism I appreciate in the new dude here. And then you have Injustice, Gods Among Us, and Superman, and he's also a shorter scale and has great articulation, but just showing you there next to him. I like this character a lot. Not the biggest fan of the outfit. I love the way they did the S, but not my favorite outfit. It's almost too busy for Superman. Maybe a space version of Superman, but really good articulation. But even in this, as far as the head sculpt, the lack of detail and just the generic face and eyes and everything, I'd have to give it to this NECA. Let's just look again at these eyes. You can see the detail. I just love the blue eyes and the way they did this face structure. I just think overall he is really, really nice in so many respects. And let me do just a couple of more. This is one of the comic book Supermen that came out a number of years ago with Batman, and I really like him. But again, the classic look, a lot of muscularity, the short cape, which was neat, different height, different size. But again, as far as this face, face looks just like it did in that comic book series. But as far as the face structure here, and he is one of my favorites, but I have to still go with the NECA Superman. I believe he's going to be my pick. I apologize that I don't have the names of these toy companies that made these. I don't remember them, or I would share it, but you can probably look it up. But this is kind of based more on the movies, Man of Steel and Justice League, things like that. And I like the Henry Cavill look of the face, but even in this face, it's just kind of a smooth, there's not a lot of detail, not a lot of structure there. It's just very generic paint and glossy hair. I still have to give the head sculpt to this guy. Now this guy's got the great articulation, but as far as anatomy and the overall general look, I'd have to go with this Superman as well, far as that, because this guy's cut up just a little bit too much and it just looks awkward here in the abdomen area compared to the rib cage. I do like the fact that they did have the ball joint though here on this guy, and even when you go back you still see the muscles. That I wish they had done a better job with that as far as the ab crunch, but that's just me personally. And I would love to have one just like this, but in the new 52 outfit, which that's not the new 52 outfit, this is, but right here. But in the new 52 outfit, I would love for them to put, you know, an articulated character like this, facial sculpt, maybe a little bit more detail. They could keep this face, but just make it a little bit more realistic. That's just me being nitpicky, or my, you know, feelings on it. Double jointed elbows and knees and just articulated feet and stuff like that, and the head and the neck. I mean, come on, they could do it. Even if they had to make the neck hinged like this one you've got a neck hinge and a ball joint neck, face and head. And of course we can't do a Superman review without showing a Lex Luthor. He's a little shorter in size than all these. That's one of my favorite Lex Luthor figures that I've had for many years, but I like him. He's neat. And there all right, now let's look at the NECA alien here and get an idea of exactly what we've got going on as far as articulation on this guy. He's very detailed, has very good articulation as well. There's a lot going on in the neck here. Of course, you can look down quite a bit like that, and you can look somewhat up there. But if you pop this off, you see that this has a hinge. You can see that there's a hinge joint, which means that if you work it, and you have to really work it, I mean, I've heated it up and worked it back and forth, you can go all the way down. And even if you really, and you can't do this without popping the head off, but you can definitely pose it, and you can even bend that hinge back. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's put the head back on here. Now that I've got it all the way back, you see you can go all the way up with that head. So you can work that joint and get a lot more range of motion, but out of the box it comes very tight. And there was even some plastic that was accumulated steel that was uncut from here that was actually blocking that from happening, and I used an X-Acto knife and carved that out so you could get that full range of motion. So that's pretty interesting on this particular figure. One of the things that's very neat, I think, is that you've got that articulated mouth hinge that opens. You see all the details of those fibers and the teeth, and this really neat dome on the top. There's a cockroach looking. And these shoulder pads, and they don't really get in the way. I mean, you're able to get a full range of motion with those arms, full 360 here with the arms. You have a swivel at the elbow, no bicep swivel, but these are small arms, so you have that swivel at the elbow. You even have double hinged, double jointed elbows here, which is really nice. Look how good a range of motion. You can get straight out and completely bent over. You even have hinge at the wrist, swivel, and hinge at the fingers here. Look at the details in this palm of the hand. Really nice on this particular figure, as well as on this side. Same thing. You don't have, again, a butterfly joint, but you do have that nice range of motion all the way around the arms on this guy. Now here's, instead of the ab crunch like Superman, here's your ball jointed diaphragm. So you get a good range of motion there. You get to go forward quite a bit. You get to go back quite a bit. I mean, look how good of upward range you can get if you were to bend that hinge all the way back and then pop that back on. You're going to be able to get almost fully articulated back, almost vertical with that particular pose there, and then you have to bend that back forward and get it back. But there you are. You see the rib cage area and all the details that are in here, just really neat. And then you can get a full split here. He is very articulate there. Got thigh swivel. You have a swivel at the knee, double jointed knees. You have single jointed shin joint there. You have a toe hinge, as well as some articulation with the feet. Not as much up and down. You have to be careful there. Get a little bit of a rocker, but these are real spongy, real soft plastic down here, but you can still manipulate it fairly well. What really helps stand this guy up, to be honest with you, is not only all the posability, but also this tail that does have a wire in it, so you can bend that and get that depending on how tall you want it. If you want this guy to be fairly upright, you can bend that tail down and then get that pose where he's standing just about the full height of his potential. Back that up and look at that. You see how tall he is. Let's go ahead and take a look right quick at how tall this alien is in his full upright position. So you see he measures in right at 10 inches tall, right at 10 inches tall when he's in his full upright position. Now, most of the time you see these in the crouched position. And so if you bend that tail back like we had it and bring some of these joints at the lower extremities down some and adjust his feet, you got a loose knee right there. But again, if you want to be able to have that, you just have to bend this tail down. The tail can actually help pivot and help you keep him at the angle that you want him to stand, or the height that you want him to stand, as you see there. And then you can get some really good poses at that crouch position. Now let's go ahead and measure at that height right there, and you see he measures in just at 8.5, even 8 3/4 high, roundabout a little over 8 inches when he's in that crouch position. And of course you can get him even lower than that if you desired. Really cool. So just a lot of cool articulation. And just right quick, you can see all the details on these protrusions coming out of his back. You see the spine area here, again the rib area, the fibers, these tentacle looking things. Just a lot of neat detail. And again, that tail is perfectly posable, and you can even swivel it at the butt area. So really neat figure. So there we have it. There is our NECA Superman, along with that alien character, and he's going to be really neat as a villain to work alongside of posing some of our action figures. Thank you for checking us out. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you'd like, and stay tuned for some more cool poses.